back. So our application is looking something like this right now. It's just a basic Angular application we just installed. Now let's actually go in now and create our first Angular Material application. So we want to install Angular Material so we can start having buttons looking something like this. Let's show an example, something like this, where we have blinky blinky, we have some primary, we have some rounded buttons. So let's try and install that. Now, first of all, let's just clean up this view. I don't want it to look something like this. I just want a button here. So very quick, we'll jump into our code right here, and we have to open under source, under app, we have to open the app component HTML file. We'll dive into these files later. I just don't want to start opening up that can right now because there's a lot to explain. So just jump into the app component HTML file, clean everything out, add a simple button right here, and just write click me. That's all I'm doing right here. I'll save it. Now notice it'll remove all of this and just add a very basic click me button up here because the app component HTML file is actually our main page. So everything else is gone except the single click button right here. Sweet, that's up and running. Now the next thing I want to do is actually start changing stuff inside my app module to explain to my component, my system right here, that I want to start using Angular Material inside my tool. So the app modules is kind of the place where we start declaring both modules we'll build ourselves and third-party modules to kind of build, like we'll also have the Fire module in here, Angular Fire, to start working with Firebase and stuff like that. So we're going to now hook in Angular Material inside this tool right here. So let's try and do that. Now we're going to jump into Angular Material again, and we're going to click Material Angular IO's button right here, and we're going to end on their start page. And here there's a small getting started guide, blah 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 blah. There's a lot about how to use this. And we need to just install two packages first right here, the Material Design package and the CDK, which is actually both required to start working with Angular Material. There we go. So we'll run these commands. I'll just open another terminal with a small plus here, and I'll just put those in here with that single command. It'll install it, and it'll also add the information about how you guys can install it with an npm install, because it'll put it in here in the package.json file. Again, let's get back to it later so I don't confuse you guys any more than I have to. Sweet. You could also use yawn to do this, but since we're using npm, that's what I'm going to do. Yawn is just another way to start adding your different packages, but we're using npm, so let's keep that. Moving down, we're not using snapshots right now. We could have found a very specific build. Doesn't matter, we'll just use the newest one right now. Moving down here, we'll find that we can also install animations because we want the blinky effects and stuff like that, sliding effects, craziness that Material provides for us. So we'll do this one as well. npm install another package called animations. So I'll just paste that in here as well. I'll press enter and let that install and just give it a few seconds, and that will also be installed. Now here comes a bit of a hard thing to you have to Google this if you don't trust me, but you need to use the browse animation module right here. You should not use the noob animation module because this is only for testing. We want to use the browse animation module because we're actually building a real application here. This guy is going to fake that we are animating stuff, so it's more for testing. We're going to install this guy. Now to do that, step one is pretty much just to copy paste the import right here into our module code that I showed you earlier. App module right here. I'll just post this import in here. Boom. And when I have that, the second thing I'll do is I'll copy this down the browser animation module. I'll paste that down here to the imports, and now we're actually ready to start using animations inside our Angular program right here. Now notice there's an unmet dependency right here. I think it'll still run right now, but later on we'll try and have a look at how we can upgrade Angular so that this will be covered. But let's just keep it for now. Scrolling down further, here it says, if you guys want to start using it now, you need to install even more modules, and we need to start using button modules. So let's have a look at how we can start using an actual button inside our Material setup right here. So I'm jumping into components, I'm going to buttons, opening the button setup right here, and the first thing it says is if you want to use buttons, we'll open the API, you have to install mat button module right here. Okay, sweet, let's do that and import that into our program. So jumping back to the program, pasting this new import in right here and adding that import down here. There we go. Now we should have a button available for this module. So jumping back here, what else should I do to start using this button? Well, the next thing you should do, if you jump into examples and you press the small view source right here, is we need to explain to our button that it should be a raised button and it should have the color of primary. Why? Well, that's kind of the button I want to show. A raised button with the primary color, which is purple right now. We'll change that later, but that's kind of how we want the button to look. So let's add that to our button now, the code, and let's just paste that in here. There we go. Now it says should be raised, and it should have the primary color, which is purple right now. Let's save this and have a look if our button changed. And there we go. It's more rounded, but still it doesn't have the primary color. I wanted this purplish color right here. Now we need one more thing to get this done. Jumping back to the getting started guide right here, if I scroll down, there's a bit more missing. Now we have the button in there. We can start using the button. That's perfect. But we still need to include a theme. Now this is the basic theme that they're showing in the guide right here. Now it says to use this theme, you need to go into your style CSS and paste this line. So let's just copy that and put that in there as well. So I'm jumping into the code. Now under the root of my app, right here on the source, there's actually a style CSS. Let me just open that one and paste this line in here. I'll save everything and let's see if that did the trick. Jumping back to my application and boom! I have a purple button, clicky-McClick. It seems to work, yes.